Hello, welcome to TDM Talk Show. The development of cultural and creative industries has been set by the government as a priority. In 2010, the Cultural Affairs Bureau established the Department for the Promotion of Cultural and Creative Industries. The government also pledged to support the industry in its policy address for the fiscal year of 2013 by launching a subsidy program. Last year, the University of St. Joseph launched the Faculty of Creative Industries. Since then, every year, around 120 new students have enrolled in the faculty with Communication and Media, Architecture, Design and Information System, categorized under the same umbrella. With both the university and the government focusing on this sector, we have invited Professor Alvaro Barbosa to join us today to discuss ways to unlock the potentiality of the cultural and creative industries of the region. To give you some background about Professor Barbosa, he is currently the Dean of the Faculty of Creative Industries at the University of St. Joseph. He was the Acting Director of the Sound and Image Department at the School of Arts from the Portuguese Catholic University in Portugal until September last year. Hi, welcome to our talk show today. And shall we begin by defining the meaning of cultural and creative industries in your opinion, Professor?
Yes, thank you, Tiffany, for inviting me over. Well, the cultural and creative industries is a term that is widely used these days, and it's basically very simple. I would first start to talk about what the creative industries is. There is a very clear definition that has been widely spread, and it's really about all these industries that trade in the result of creativity, that is, the ideas that have value. So if in your business, the driver of your business is creativity, then possibly you are under the framework of the creative industries. Now, cultural industries is a term that many times is used as the same as the creative industries, but in my opinion is actually a subset of what the creative industries are. I mean, I think the creative industries have a more broad range. They include many areas that are not under the cultural framework. For instance, if you're talking about design, publishing, video games, these are not really cultural industries. Cultural industries are those industries that are more traditionally related with the, let's say, the cultural and the social welfare of the arts and culture. I would say that, for instance, museums, performing arts, everything related with this kind of industries, these cultural industries. The creative industries actually is a very much wider range of activities that then result in what we call the creative economy, the result of these activities.
So how do you see the connection between the two?
Well, in reality, one includes the other. So I would say that the cultural industries are really the driver in many ways for what then becomes the wider scope of the creative industries. I'll give you an example. For instance, someone that is working in automotive design, let's say, so these people will be working in the automotive industries. Probably they will not even be classified under the creative class if you take into account that they are probably working in an industry that is not considered to be part of the creative industries, but that includes people working as creatives. However, most of these people probably in their education, they were trained as creative people under the framework of the cultural industries because they were probably studying design in a fine arts school, for instance. So I say one is the driver to the other, I would put it this way.
So in that sense, like how significant would it be when it comes to diversifying a region's economy?
Well, it has been happening quite a lot. So one of the main achievements of the creative industries, of what we call the paradigm of the creative industries, has been the regeneration of the urban development in many European countries. So it has happened that for some reason, it seems to be that creative people like to cluster in regions that need to be that are not in their best time and that need to be reorganized, remodeled in some way. And it has been that, in that sense, the creative clusters that have been coming up in Europe especially have been used as a model for urban regeneration in this sense. So this all around these areas and these regions in the cities and in this what we call the creative cities, new business come up, and these new business are not necessarily under the creative industries. It's a side effect of this activity, because areas of the cities that were already becoming not used at all in many of these older cities in Europe now become revitalized, and just people start moving there again, and they want to be in these neighborhoods that are very interesting and exciting. And so this is one of the side effects on one hand. On the other hand, of course, there's the economic aspect of this industry. So what happens is that it has been more and more acknowledged that there is a lot of economic value behind this idea of using talent as what you trade in the industry.
So I think, as all of us are aware, including yourselves, that Macau's economy is overly dependent on the gaming industry. And some experts say that it will be very difficult for the creative and cultural industries to have an impact. In this sense, Professor, what do you think?
Well, what I've been hearing quite a lot is this notion that this idea of creative industries could become as an alternative, as a possible replacement to the gaming industry in case things go wrong in this industry, which I don't anticipate. But so people seem to be very concerned about this, and of course, this is an issue. There's been a recent thesis at USJ from a master's student from the MBA about the comparison with the Dutch disease, which is overly dependence of one single area of business in a society, in a context, social context. In my view, I don't really think that you can consider that the development of the subsectors of the creative industries that are plausible to be working well in Macau will become a real alternative to the gaming industry, for the simple reason that the revenue that results from this industry is so high that we'll never, I cannot imagine that there will be an industry that can actually replace this one. So my take on that is that I believe we should think about the creative industries as complementary to the gaming industry, because in fact the casinos are not only about gambling.
Right.
It's also about entertainment. And I've been looking at some statistics that show that more and more in Las Vegas, which used to be apparently the capital of gambling in the world, not anymore, people go there, and more and more there are people that go there and they don't gamble at all. They just go there for fun, for entertainment, to go to the clubs, to attend to these shows. So it's really about whether or not we can, in Macau, do something more than just the gambling in this very interesting context that exists here.
That's a very good example. So where do the success story arise from, the interplay between the industry, the government, education institution, as well as private organization?
Yeah, well, I think all these stakeholders really have to work together. For me, I think there's a key that the development of education in this field. More and more people realize that in every organization you do need to have to some extent, creative people, not only on your core business, but also on all these areas related with marketing, with the design associated with the company. So this is essential, and this is well acknowledged. I mean, everyone understands today that entrepreneurship is about innovation, and innovation and creativity come together almost always. So this is really essential. But in order to actually have a community of people that can produce high quality results in this area, you need to have a good education system that fosters knowledge in this area. This is on one hand. Now, the government, the private sector, they are in a way also very important stakeholders in this process, because the private sector and the business, they are the ones that are incorporating this talent, and the government has to mediate so that this can all work together. So one model that I believe works pretty well, and in fact I have previous experience in setting up some kind of context like this, is the business incubation. So I believe that business incubation in the creative industries is a very practical approach into fostering and the transition between students that are still at either at the university or I wouldn't say at high school, but mostly at higher education, to transition them to the industry in a way that you foster the entrepreneurship and you create new businesses that are actually based on creativity in a way. So the role of the government, in my view, is not only to sponsorship the cultural activities that are out there. Well, there's many roles, but one of the key roles to create these outstanding and examples of good companies and good examples in the creative industries would be to actually sponsor more these joint ventures between universities and companies in business incubation environments.
That's very interesting. So coming back to University of San Joseph, why did you decide to set up the creative industries faculty? Because it seems like something new in Macau in terms of the education sector.
Well, it wasn't really my decision to set it up this way. It was I was certainly part of the decision-making process, but. University of San Joseph has been around for a few years and is already running some of the programs that we are actually incorporating in the creative industries faculties. We already had a very successful communication and media program that is actually the first cohort is graduating this year. For 4 years, it's the 5th year that we're enrolling students. We had a design program that is also very different than what is being offered by other universities in Macau in terms of its focus. And we have the only architecture program in Macau, but all these programs were scattered in different faculties. So when we decided in 2012 to remodel or reorganize our university, one of the options was that we should try to create faculties that can get the programs that benefit from being together, so we can get like this interdisciplinarity going on in this program. So the Faculty of Creative Industries was created with this in mind.
But why would communication and media, architecture, design and information system fall under the creative industries faculty as compared to some other courses?
Those are, the areas, the subsectors that are defined for the creative industries are very clear. This architecture is certainly one of them. Publishing design is one of the examples. There's all these lists, and these are very traditional creative industries activities. They are all based on the creativity and the development of original ideas. So they have this in common.
And I have here the information about earlier this year, USJ Rector Peter Stilwell mentioned that the intention of relocating the Faculty of Creative Industries to a space previously occupied by Ricci School in the Namban area. So when do you think that the school will plan to move out of the Nape district?
Well, we're actually moving out of the Nape already this year to a provisional space that will be temporary until we move to this new facility. As you probably know, and it's been widely discussed in the news, the University of San Joseph is building a new campus, built from scratch. There will be a new facility that will provide opportunities that are very interesting for our university. At some point, there was also the opportunity that from the Macau diocese, we could take over this historical classified building, the Ricci building, which is a wonderful, very, very nice building, and use it also for our university. So the idea immediately arose that this would be a perfect place to set up the creative industries faculty, because in fact it will require also some remodeling by our architecture program, which is already working on that. And we actually can do it the right way, because heritage restoration is mostly about diagnosing correctly how to actually rehabilitate the building. So we're doing a historical survey trying to see how can we make this building to keep his original characteristics and on the inside become a state-of-the-art facility for our faculty. So it's an incredible opportunity, and hopefully, if everything goes well, we hope that in 1 year time we'll be able to move there with all these programs.
I guess with the public, they also have the questions that with students in the creative industries faculty, looking at the industries available here in Macau, do you think that those students who are graduating or who have graduated would have difficulty in looking for a job in the region?
Well, my understanding is there is not a big difficulty to find jobs in general in Macau. In this area, I'm very positive that the students, actually I'm more than positive, I'm aware that from looking what is happening with the internships, that is a high demand for people in this communication, media, design, architecture. We are the only program in Macau, and with the ratio of construction that we have in Macau, I doubt that there is another place in the world that needs architects as much as Macau. So, and these are areas that are totally in line with the needs of this region. So I believe that it's very promising for the students to study in this field, whether it's in USA or elsewhere. And there won't be very hard for them to find jobs in Macau. But I would also point out that I think that students should not think when they graduate only about getting jobs in the place where they live. I highly recommend that people
or in the higher pay content.
Yeah, or higher pay content. But I highly recommend that people also pursue the option of having an experience of working abroad. I know that people in Macau tend to prefer to continue to work in the comfort or in their comfort zone in Macau. But I really think it's important in one's development to have a view of the world. So I would be very happy.
So they should venture out.
I would be very happy if my students go and study abroad further in their studies or have experience working in other places other than Macau.
But Macau is already short of labor in terms.
Yes. Well, yeah. Still, I would still recommend that maybe they go out for a while and then come back.
Right. So in what ways do you think that the region could create sustainable jobs and also substantial growth regionally as well as internationally?
Well, this is really about the region, you pointed out correctly. Macau by itself, I don't think has the context to create what we call a cluster of creative industries. And the cluster means that we would have to have a certain number of companies that are complementary and that work together with each other in a way that the sum of the whole is more than just the sum of the contribution of each one of the companies. And in order for this to happen, to have this cluster context, I think that Macau needs to be aligned with the region itself, with Hong Kong and Zhuhai, and we really need to. I think that the government really need to have very strong operational relationship with the wider context in this region, so that we are not trying to repeat whatever is being very well done in other areas around Macau. So it would be ideal if we can find a certain number of topics that we can pursue and that are complementary and that to the other regions, and that we can all work as a cluster in the region and not only within Macau.
That's a good suggestion. What about the frames and conditions do creative industries need in order to be commercially successful?
Okay, so creative industries as a whole, as I explained in the beginning, is about businesses that in principle should be sustainable by itself. However, this subsector of the cultural industries many times will not be sustainable if they are not government sponsored. And this is the case everywhere in the world. Many people sometimes give me the example of the United States, where it is believed that many of the cultural institutions are self-sufficient, like museums, because they actually get sponsoring from, all these, the banking industry and all that. And they think, well, in Macau, maybe you could get the same from the casinos. What people tend to forget about this particular situation in the United States is that They have a very high, a very strong policy of tax rebate for these companies that sponsor the cultural industries. And therefore, at the end, if you look at what happens, it's still the government that is sponsoring by giving away their tax from these big corporations that put their money.
In order to attract them to come into the business.
Exactly. So one way or the other, many of these cultural industries, which are basically not targeting the profit, they are targeting the cultural and social welfare. You know, it's not about economic value. It's about many other types of values that are not very easily taken into accountable in money. And this all context is really necessary. Otherwise, these cultural industries will not be sustainable if they don't have government sponsors. So this needs to be part of the equation. I mean, you cannot think that if you don't, you cannot just not sponsor this and you take your money and put it elsewhere from the government. You still need to have a policy about sponsoring cultural industries.
So if we're going to talk about the government here in that industry in specific in terms of cultural and creative industry, how do you think that it can generate a structural renewal as well as revival, especially when it comes to Macau, that the region is tiny compared to a lot of other countries out there?
Well, I think the government is doing what they need to do. So they are trying to assess what is the context in Macau. And you know, this creativity and this creative development, it cannot be a top-down approach. It needs to be bottom-up. You have to look at the region and see what they have to offer, and from there try to create the different approaches that you can follow. And I think what the government has been doing over the last few years is to map the sector. They are trying to identify what are the areas that should be sponsored, should be fostered, or that there should be an investment. They come up with a number of areas that are from the ICM has issued and published many times. A number of areas that they are sponsoring, and they are actively trying to help people to develop, and I believe that they are correct for the most part. There might be others. There are some studies coming up that will show eventually, I think, from the academia, that will show there are other areas that could be also interesting in Macau. But you know, they are sponsoring, for instance, fashion design.
Right.
Fashion design is coming up as being this year one of the areas that is being mostly sponsored. And it is true that Macau is a hub for fashion, and it's also true that all this context with the casinos and all these shopping malls they are a way to promote locally designed fashion. There are excellent examples of not at the higher education yet, but CPTTM is a very good fashion design program. That professionally, they have very incredible facilities, and the students are developing fast. So I think the analysis is correct. They are working as fast as possible, I believe, because these things cannot be rushed. You really have to take your time to understand what the context is. And the most important thing is that the government take the time to learn from previous experiences in other countries where the creative industries clusters have been developing, and there are governmental policies. Everyone talks about the UK, but there are many different examples throughout the world, even in Australia, for instance.
And in terms of the success of the industry itself, how do you think that it should be measured, or how it is to be measured?
Well, this is also very tricky. So, of course, you can measure the GDP, and it is well known in the UK, for instance, that I think it's claimed that the creative industries in the UK is about 6% of the GDP, and in Europe in general about 3%. So this is the most well-known way to value what an industry is worth in terms of the internal development of a country or a region. However, in this case, the creative industries, it's difficult to assess for one or two reasons. One is that it's not consensual in every country that the mapping of the sector includes the same activities. For instance, in the UK, in many ways, they include sports as being one of the creative industries. You can already imagine that if you include sports, then this increases quite a lot GDP. So I'll give you an example. If in Macau you include the entertainment business associated with the casinos as being part of the creative industries, then you'd have excellent numbers to show off, I believe. So
right.
It's really about how you classify these things and how, in terms of how you assess it. This is one of the issues. So the other point is that one thing is the creative industries in terms of the businesses that are classified as being part of this sector. The other thing is the creative class, what Richard Florida called the creative class. And the creative class are the people that are creatives and that are working as creative people, but many, many times, and I would argue that maybe there are more people from the creative class working outside of the creative industries. They are working in banks, they are working in any kind of business in their creative departments. But this business, in terms of economic analysis, are not seen as creative industries business, you see. So it's not very easy to assess this activity in general. But also, I would like to point out that there's an intangible value in this area that is not that cannot be translated in this kind of analysis, business and economic analysis.
That's why it's called cultural and creative
exactly.
industry.
So it's not easy. It's not an easy question to answer. I can tell you there are people that are specialized at this point in studying new ways to assess, how to integrate all this intangible value of the creative industries so that it can be part of the assessment of the impact assessment for the sustainability of the sector. And this is actually it became a research area.
What about the specific entry barriers? Do you see any challenges in terms of bringing in the industry?
Well, I think the industry is eager to have more and more people with creative ideas. The industry understands the value of innovation. And so I would say that there are no barriers there. I mean, as far as my understanding is the industry is really eager to get people that comes from backgrounds in creative industries. In that sense, I think we are okay. The problem has been over the last few years the acknowledgement of these areas as being a self-sustained business field. But of course, even with the establishment of the term in creative industries, it has become that today people have a different kind of respect and acknowledgement for this area. So this has been difficult, but at this point, I think we are actually in the right track for that.
And I understand that the government has granted 39 million petakas to fund projects related to cultural and creative industries just last year. So do you think that this is a wise move?
Well, it is wise that the government provides funding. We will see at the end what happens, but what I'm afraid of that might happen is that in a way the local community is not still ready to take advantage of this available funding. I think there is a long way to go in terms of and that's why I point out that education is so important. There is a long way to go before we have a context where you have companies and independent creators that can actually take advantage of the funding that is available. It could happen at the end that the funding is too much. I hope not. But if that's the case, it just means that it's not that there is no potential here. It just means that people are not yet prepared for that. One short track to do this is to actually foster more the integration of foreign talent in Macau.
Right. Before we wrap up today's talk show, there's one more question. How do you anticipate the future of cultural and creative industries, and do you have any suggestions or advice?
Well, you mean in Macau?
Yes.
Well, I think from the first time I came to Macau, I think this is very promising region for this area. I mean, it's no wonder that the government wants to develop this area. It makes a lot of sense. And as I said, if you think about this area as a complementary activity to the leading gaming industry, then the potential that you have is really fantastic. So I envision that in a very short term, and also because we are coming in late in the stage of the development of creative industries, and we can look at examples, good and bad examples of local policies in other countries. I think that very fast it can become a very sustainable and exciting reality in Macau. And to be totally honest, I think things are really on track, because you see that higher education is developing very fast in Macau, even at in terms of the regulation from the local Bureau for Higher Education. It's developing very fast, and it's becoming demanding, and I expect that in a very short term we'll have a very high quality hub of higher education in Macau. You know, you have a very boosting tourism environment. You have all this entertainment industry, so all the ingredients are here. I think the process is going in the right track. My advice is that we keep it that way.
So there should be interchanges between the local and foreign talents.
This is one thing that I've been claiming for a while in many occasions. I think one of the things that I think Macau would benefit a lot is actually to open as much as possible its doors to creative talent from abroad. I mean, this is what happened in Barcelona. That's the reason why this city became so successful in cultural terms, because it is a multicultural city.
Thank you very much, Professor Barbosa. Thank you so much for your time. And to you at home, thank you for watching. We will be back again next week with another guest.